What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. As is with all plot leaks, they are one of the more fun things to do here at the channel, and I don't mind doing them as soon as they get passed around. A lot of you guys sending me this one. Apparently, it was posted to Reddit for a while before it was taken down. I'm going to go ahead and issue the normal spoiler warning and then break down this rather lengthy plot leak. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros as well as a whole slew of other Marvel-related stuff. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, leave a like and a comment on this video, then hit the notification bell, and if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So normally, I have a pretty stock standard spoiler warning that I set out in front of all plot leaks and toy leaks. You know, the idea is if you want to see Avengers Endgame new and fresh to the ideas that the Russo brothers have in store for you, maybe it's best if you back out of the video. Today has a couple of caveats. The first is that people have started to actually see this movie. Tons of people who worked on the movie, as well as test screenings now happening in several places in the world. And what this basically means is that with every next test screening they do to the public and or Marvel Studios employees, forget the NDAs, that is the non-disclosure agreements. That's one extra person who can possibly spill the beans. And you know, if they just tell a couple of friends and then they tell a couple of friends, then the actual details and facts of this movie are going to start to leak out. That being said, sometimes plot leaks are so poorly written and go absolutely nowhere with a ton of their ideas, and that might be the case with this plot leak today. I've always said in the past, as you go later in the game, no pun intended, literally as you get closer to the thing that people are leaking the plot for, it starts to become just an amalgamation of all the fan fictions that came before it and a conflagration of the details that have been leaked. For instance, you take all of the toy leaks, all of the leaks that we've had from what the actors have said, you go ahead and mix that up with a couple of the fan fictions and the best ideas that have happened before it, and voila, you got this brand new spanking shiny version of what could happen in Avengers Endgame. Unfortunately, that's not the case today, and as we go through this, I'm going to annotate it and let you guys know where I think the major problems are. That being said, let's read this bad boy. Avengers Endgame opens with mass funerals and scenes of destruction and chaos in the wake of Thanos' snap. Captain America addresses the world, guaranteeing their safety, and Thor leaves to find out more about Stormbreaker, as the rest of the Avengers are given hope by the arrival of Ant-Man and Captain Marvel. She is, at first, very cautious, suspicious, and wants only to talk to Nick Fury, then realizes that Cap is actually the Captain America she remembers hearing about, verifies his identity, and begins to trust the rest of the Avengers. Rocket, meanwhile, thinks that a spaceship can get them to Thanos. Tony and Nebula are stuck in space, still not knowing what to do. They, however, are determined to make it to Titan. They arrive finally on Titan II in order to fight Thanos, but are in no condition to do so, and Thanos actually takes pity on them. Now, before I go any further in this little prologue section, the only thing that I like is that Captain Marvel would recognize Captain America, right? She would remember hearing the stories of his valor as she was also in the armed forces, and that's a super cool tie-in because he does predate her in the Marvel Universe. Other than that, the rest of this is super poorly written. Captain America doesn't work for the government, so he wouldn't be responsible for going out and making any PSAs, and I'm not sure he even thinks he's safe, so I'm not sure he's guaranteeing anybody's safety. I'm not sure about Thor leaving to learn more about Stormbreaker. What more would he have to learn than he already learned from each tree in n.o.v.a.official in the first place? Okay, let's keep going. Tony and Nebula actually join Thanos at his behest for dinner, and he takes off the Infinity Gauntlet and places it in front of Tony as if to tempt him, and then asks what he would do and he would bring back. They talk about pain, and Nebula chimes in saying that she has the courage to do it. Then a fight ensues in which Nebula is taking on Thanos, and Tony grabs the gauntlet but is dumbfounded. When he puts it on, he finally snaps. Alright, Tony Stark is going to snap in the first 15 or 20 minutes of this movie with the Infinity Gauntlet on? Okay. Then it goes on to say that Tony is immediately transported like Thanos was after his snap to a scene of him there with his mother and his father. He's graduating. He's very happy. Obadiah walks up and says, "You'll be running the show one day." And this is a flashback scene, I suppose, to mirror what happened to Thanos. And then he's flashed to a different scene where he's sitting in very regal looking armor upon a throne with the Infinity Gauntlet on and robots who all look like Ultron surrounding him. But they are no match for Thanos, and he is brought back right to the same spot that he was before he snapped. Apparently no consequence of this snap, a faulty snap, if you will. And they are both beaten, defeated by Thanos. He retrieves the gauntlet and sends them back to Earth. Back on Earth, Tony and Nebula are reunited with the Avengers, and there's a tense meeting between Tony and Cap. Tony explains that he had the gauntlet, was able to snap it, and explains how he tried to bring everybody back but couldn't, and now doubts that anybody else could too. Thor simply says, "You lacked the will to do so," and they all decide as a group that you must want it more than anything, and none of them are pure enough to do so, and that Thanos wouldn't even let them if they tried. Rocket then chimes in and explains how it took a whole team of them to control the Power Stone. They conclude they will need dozens of people with the same goal of wielding the Infinity Gauntlet to bring everybody back, and it seems impossible in 3 dimensions, but they will figure it out across time and space. And they devise a plan for each Avenger to hold the Infinity Gauntlet at different places in time. The entire plan forces them on having the gauntlet again, however, and they start arguing about how they will face off against Thanos and what it will take to time travel, setting up the condition to win before they have what they need. They realize they have to fight Thanos ultimately, and Bruce Banner says, "Well, I have an idea." Bruce says he's come up with a plan to have him fight Thanos alone, and he will control the Hulk with the help of a procedure he's been working on. Some of the Avengers traveling through time to set up the places in which they will bring everybody back, while Thanos travels back to Titan 2 alone. He asks to talk with Thanos and says, "I don't really think I can do anything with that gauntlet, but I just want a rematch," and him and Professor Hulk start to duke it out. Meanwhile, the Avengers are traveling again back through times and dimensions, recruiting themselves and others to help with the ultimate goal of them all wielding the Infinity Gauntlet at different places in time. Thanos defeats the smart Hulk and then says, "I can help you with your pain," and separates Banner and the Hulk into 2 different people. They look at each other confused before Hulk screams in rage and tackles Thanos. That's when Captain Marvel and Thor all rush at the same time to try to defeat him, manage to cut Thanos' arm off, and retrieve the Infinity Gauntlet. The Avengers then start the job of passing the Infinity Gauntlet through time, space, and dimensions to have themselves and others, rather an enormous group of Avengers from the past, future, and other dimensions all wield the Infinity Gauntlet in unison so that they can bring back everybody, that amount of power it takes to wield all those stones to undo what Thanos has done. Guys, you know I'm a straight shooter, and I call it like I see it, and this plot leak is a big pile of crap. This is one of the worst written plot leaks I have ever covered. In fact, I chose not to cover plot leaks that I think were better written than this earlier in the game, but I've been sent this by so many sources, it must have really made it rounds, so I wanted to go ahead and cover it and chime in. However, it's not that it's missing Hawkeye, Ronin rather, or War Machine, or some other major plot points that we know that are going to happen. My appraisal of why this is 100% false is based solely on the fact of how poorly it's written. Writing fiction is super difficult, especially quality fiction, and if it wasn't, everybody would be good at it. I've taught writing for a long time, and in seminars and workshops, short story writing works best for that. I always tell my classes, if your ending holds no meaning, then neither will the rest of the story, and that's just what this plot leak felt like. It was a bunch of sentences and paragraphs that struggled to find their own meaning within them and then led to nowhere. And when that happens in a story, that's a very amateur thing. So whoever wrote this was just at their house trying to come up with something and probably threw it on Reddit. And unfortunately, that's the nature of these things. Some of them are well written, some of them are not. And if you guess enough things, I guess some of them turn out to be true. I do like that Captain Marvel would recognize Captain America, but the rest of it is a super reach. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Was there any of this that actually had you convinced, or do you agree with me and think this is a total pile of bull? Okay, and let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros at the 300 and 400,000 subscriber mark. We're also giving away at the 250,000 subscriber mark this awesome Avengers 1 commemorative plaque. It's a Marvel Trendsetters limited edition, limited run 2500 plaque. commemorating the 10 original film cells from the first Avengers movie. I didn't say that correctly, but I'm giving it away, so here. If you want to win this with PlayStations, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button, leave a like and a comment on this video, then hit the notification bell, and the more videos that you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. That's how it works. My name's Michael Roman. This is Everything Always. Thanks for checking out the channel, and stick around because I'll be posting again real soon.